History repeats itself is a common saying. However, whenever we take a look back in human history, we can only wish that saying to never come true. Number 5. The Great Chinese Famine was marked as one of the most devastating 3 years for the people of China from 1958 to 1961. There were numerous factors that caused this devastation, the main one being drought and very poor weather condition. With poor weather condition and natural disaster came radical changes in agriculture. Social pressure and economic mismanagement also contributed to this devastation. Many researchers suggested that the famine was 30% due to natural disaster, while 70% was caused by mismanagement. The death toll from the Great Chinese Famine was well over 36 million people. Number 4. HalloDomme, literally meaning killed by starvation in Ukraine, had to be added to our list as one of the worst time in human history. The event lasted from 1931 to 1932. Not many people are aware of this atrocity, but Ukraine had suffered from a phase of immense man-made famine. This was caused by a long-term plan organized by Joseph Stalin, which was the leader of the Soviet Union from 1922 to 1952, as a way to exterminate the Ukrainian independence movement. Bad economic planning, such as cutting back on rationing system to certain cities, was purposely organized. This famine was described as a genocide and was even compared to the Holocaust. An estimated 2.4 to 7.5 million Ukrainians died as a result. Number 3. Hiroshima bombing. When the white flag was raised in Italy and Germany, Japan stood alone and refused to surrender. On August 6, 1945, the people of Japan suffered the consequences. The first atomic bomb to ever be used in history was dropped in the city of Hiroshima, which killed 90,000 to 146,000 people, wiping an estimated 90% of its city. Even after that, Japan still refused to surrender. 3 days later, a second atomic bomb was released in the city of Nagasaki. The second dropping killed anywhere from 39,000 to 80,000 people. 10 years later, survivors from the bombings eventually died from the radiation burns and sickness. People claim the bombings to have marked the end of World War II, and according to Wikipedia, it remains the only use of nuclear weapons for warfare in history. Number 2. World War II. Many of you knew that this was going to be part of our list, and we couldn't have made an exception. The reason being is that the total death toll was far too great to be ignored. This war was placed in the worst time of history because it had followed after the Great Depression, Holodomor, and it was in the midst of the Holocaust. Just as a refresher, there were two groups of countries that were involved: the Axis powers, which were Germany, Italy, and Japan, versus the Allies, Britain, France, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, India, the Soviet Union, China, and the US. It was not hard to guess who was going to win this. It was good to hear that the Allies had come out victorious, but sad to hear the total number of people that died as a result, which were over 60 million people dead from the combined events of the war. Number 1. There are many names given for this pandemic, but we will go with the Black Death. For our viewers who are unfamiliar with this, the Black Death is a plague that rampaged Europe. Yersinia pestis is a deadly bacterium which scientists believe to have been the cause of this deadly plague. Gerbils or rats were carriers of this bacteria, and they were said to originate from Central Asia via the Silk Road trade route. Once it arrived at the harbors, it would spread the bacterium to the citizen, which caused a spiderweb effect, rapidly affecting more and more people in Europe. The deadly pandemic is said to be responsible for the death anywhere from 75 to 200 million people from 1346 to 1353. This caused a massive reduction in the world's population. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to us for more updates, and goodbye.